This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-ending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Hallo und wieder mal herzlich willkommen bei Sam's Nerdzone. Hab mir heute gedacht, ich zeige euch mal ein bisschen was aus Stanley Parable. Hat ja schon eine ziemlich große Runde im Internet gemacht, ist aber scheint ganz cool zu sein. Bin ja mal gespannt. Mit dieser grandiosen Story von Anfang an schaue ich mal, was mich hier so erwartet.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Bestimmt. So, was haben wir hier? Ist natürlich schon geil, ohne jegliche Erklärung.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Unbeliebt. Cool, ich kann Computer ausschalten.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference. Nor did it advance the story in any way.
Jetzt sei mal nicht so, ja? Stanley hat auch Gefühle. Okay, man kann hier so schnell nirgends rein. Was haben wir da? Hä? Ja, es soll ja sehr viele verschiedene Enden haben, habe ich schon gehört. Bin mal gespannt, wie lange man da spielt, um eins zu kriegen. Nachdem man hier nirgends rein kann, kann es ja gar nicht so schwer sein. Nein. Du auch nicht.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
So. Was passiert? Nein. Jetzt machen wir mal mit. Genau. Na toll. 4:13. Auch nicht. Muss schon ein scheiß Gefühl sein, im Büro zu arbeiten an sich. Und dann auch noch, wenn gar keiner mehr da ist, dann stelle ich mir das echt creepy vor. Und vor allem, nachdem alles verschlossen ist. Der Konferenzraum.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Und weiter geht's. The future was yesterday, tomorrow is now. Get Chris out of the broom closet. Ah, cool. Das ist bestimmt ein Hinweis, wo Chris ist. Using slides to assure employee that everything is okay. Oh Mensch. Ja, jeder ist einzigartig. Das ist ja mal was Tolles. What do people want? Things. Money. More money. Things. But with money to buy more things. Okay. So läuft das also im Büro ab. Und warum zur Hölle gehen hier immer alle Türen in zu? Oh, Chris. Chris?
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Ist ja gut. Lüge! Dann hat ihn schon niemand rausgeholt.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Geht's auch noch? Jawohl! Viva la Revolution! Da irgendwie, das setzen wir uns jetzt mal. Das sieht ja... Nein. Egal.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished.
No risk, no
His
fun.
boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley.
Was?
Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of
Nein.
my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment
Vollkommen
for
normal.
no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense.
Ach, komm jetzt.
And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went?
Oh.
And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they
Stimmt.
simply repeating?
Hier war ich schon mal.
No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't
Richtig.
be real. At last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He
PT.
just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming! He yelled.
Ich
This
träume!
is all a dream. Oh, what a relief
Kann man hier.
Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all.
Irgendwo muss man doch hier wieder
He
zurück
thought to
können.
himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go
Richtig.
back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
Wow!
Then
Wow!
he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun.
Yay.
And Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he
Okay.
remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head.
Wer bin
One
ich?
he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking?
Ja,
Now
echt
the
gute
voice
Frage.
was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought.
Das
And while he thought it all very odd, and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life.
ja,
Now,
bestimmt.
hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago?
Genau.
How else would the voice explain all that?
Richtig.
This voice was a part of himself too, surely.
Jawohl.
Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control.
Richtig.
That this was a dream.
Du hörst jetzt gleich auf zu
So he
reden.
closed his eyes gently.
Genau.
And he invited himself to wake up. He felt
Wach
the cool
auf.
weight of the blanket on his skin,
Ja.
the press of the mattress on his back,
Hör auf sowas zu zählen, ich schlaf
the
gleich ein.
fresh air of a world outside this one.
Also ich würde, wenn ich schon schlafen würde.
Let me wake up, he thought to himself.
Wind.
I'm through with this dream. I wish
Meeresrauschen.
it to be over. Let me go back to my job.
Nein.
Let me continue
Bikini-Schönheit.
pushing the buttons. Please.
Nein.
It's all I want.
Am Strand.
I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been.
Richtig.
My
Nachdem ich
life
nichts machen
is
kann
normal.
gerade.
I am normal. Everything will be fine.
Ja, ja, bestimmt.
I am okay.
Bin ja jetzt schon weggetreten hier. Ah, nein. Ich will nicht. Ich will an den
Stanley
Strand.
began screaming.
Ah!
Someone wake me up. My name is Stanley.
Jawohl.
I have a boss. I have an office. I am real.
Creepy.
Please, just someone tell
Oh.
me I'm real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone
Richtig.
hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I?
Okay.
Everything went black.
Ja. Und jetzt? Ich würde
This
auch.
is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Wie jetzt? Was hat Marielle damit zu tun?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She
Sehr gut.
rose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day,
Ja,
her
Stanley.
walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk.
Sehr
And
gut.
although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. Then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Von wegen die Polizei rufen, sowas brauchen wir nicht. Okay, Stanley. The end is never the end. Ja, das ist jetzt wieder der Anfang. Naja, okay. Mann, war ich schnell. Ja, das ist das Spiel. Ich denke mal, wird sich bestimmt noch was anderes ergeben an dem Ganzen hier. Ich mache jetzt mal für heute hier einen Cut. Hoffe, euch hat gefallen, was ich euch gezeigt habe. Sonst, wie immer, Fragen oder jegliche Kommentare unten in die Box. Würde mich sehr über einen Daumen nach oben freuen oder eventuell ein kleines Abo. Ansonsten, wie üblich, Game on, Sam out.